The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers began work last month to temporarily raise the banks along nearly 3 miles of the Los Angeles River to improve flood protection during El Niño storms. Annually, crews from the Los Angeles District Operations and Maintenance Branch perform cleanup and maintenance of Corps-operated dams and associated reaches of the Los Angeles River in preparation of winter storms.
I'm performing biological monitoring with asset management crews who are getting the LA River and the confluence, Encino Creek here, ready for El Nino storm season. Currently they're removing non-native Arundel-Donax, giant reed, from the mouth of Encino Creek, and that was just an opportunity to do some potential mitigation of removal of non-native species while we clear out this channel to allow storm flows.
Last fall, the Corps completed a review of existing conditions of its operated and maintained flood risk management systems in preparation of the forecasted increase of rainfall due to the effects of El Nino. The review resulted in the development of an interim risk reduction measures to establish a consistent flow rate or greater capacity along the river from approximately Griffith Park to Elysian Valley, including the Glendale Narrows area. These areas were identified to have the greatest risk of flooding to adjacent communities during large storm events. On January the 8th, the Los Angeles District Commander joined Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti and Los Angeles County Supervisor Hilda Solis and announced that the Corps will start work on interim risk reduction measures to improve flood protection of the Los Angeles River during El Nino.
Mayor, thank you. Supervisor Solis, thank you very much. In light of the El Nino season and the fact that we're in the midst of our first storm of the season this week, on January 5th, which was Tuesday, I declared an emergency for our Los Angeles district. That allowed us to receive from our headquarters $3.1 million in emergency funding, as well as 3 miles worth of temporary protective barriers, and they'll be used for flood fighting measures and to improve the flood risk along the Los Angeles River.
The Corps immediately received temporary barriers, which are also known as HESCO, and awarded a $1.3 million contract to JF Engineering of Pomona, California, to install roughly 3 miles of temporary protective barriers.
So today we're erecting HESCO barriers all along this side of the LA River to, in the case of very high water, to prevent that surge of water from coming over the banks and potentially flooding the local neighborhoods.
More than 17,000 linear feet of the barriers were installed along the river. Now, in addition to the replacement of the protective barriers, the Corps is also performing strategic vegetation removal in the channel outside of Griffith Park in order to increase the capacity of the river. The Corps awarded a $440,000 contract to BJD Services of Santa Clarita, California, to perform strategic in-channel vegetation and sediment removal in the most vulnerable reach of the LA River that will restore channel capacities and reduce the risk of flooding to homes and businesses. To date, more than 25,000 cubic yards of non-native vegetation has been removed. In addition to the emergency maintenance measures, the Corps has implemented monitoring and notification systems that will be in place throughout the storm season and is prepared to undertake flood fighting activities should the need arise. Flood control structures reduce risk, but they don't eliminate it. We want those who rely on flood control structures to know their risks and to know their role and to take appropriate action to reduce their risk through prudent evacuation planning and by obtaining flood insurance. Reporting from the LA River, I'm Public Affairs Specialist Brooks Hubbard.